students, in this video I am going to explain you about the ion selective electrodes. In my previous videos on the electrodes, I have discussed with you the various types of electrodes, the primary standard electrode and the silver chloride as well as calomel electrodes, which are secondary reference electrodes. Now today's video is all about the ion selective electrodes and their types. Let us start. The ion selective electrodes are defined as those electrodes which are selectively sensitive to certain ions in the solution and develops a potential proportional to the concentration of these ions, ignoring the other ions present in the solution. Such electrodes which are selectively sensitive are called ion selective electrodes. Further explaining you the same definition, that suppose we are taking a ion selective electrode which is sensitive towards sodium ions and immerse it in a solution of sodium chloride, it will develop a potential against only sodium ions, ignoring the chloride ions. So this is how the electrodes develops a potential against a particular species of ions, ignoring the other ions present in the solution, and therefore they are termed as ion selective electrodes. The potential develops across the membrane of the electrode, that is at the interface, that is at the boundary of the electrode, and therefore these electrodes are also termed as membrane electrodes. Conventionally, these electrodes are used as cathodes. Let us now see the components of ion selective or membrane electrodes. All ion selective electrodes have three important components. First is the internal reference electrode. Commonly, silver chloride electrode is used as internal reference electrode in any ion selective electrode. We have already discussed the silver chloride electrode in one of my previous lectures, so please refer that for the construction and working of silver chloride electrode. The second important component is the internal electrolyte. The internal electrolyte is prepared by dissolving a salt having the same ions as the ions under test, and it is filled inside the membrane of the internal as an internal electrolyte in the ion selective electrode. The third constituent is the membrane, which separates the internal electrolyte from the external electrolyte, that is the solution under test. When such an electrode is immersed in the test solution, it develops a potential at the interface, and this potential is called the membrane potential, which is denoted by a symbol E small p, EB. We can classify the ion selective electrodes into four types: the glass membrane electrode, solid state membrane electrode, liquid membrane electrode, and heterogeneous membrane electrode. The glass membrane electrode example is glass electrode, where the membrane is made up of a special glass called the soda glass. In the solid state membrane electrode, The solids such as silver sulfide and silver chloride are grinded and molded in the form of small balls or pellets and are kept in the electrode, which acts as the solid state membrane. The liquid membrane electrode consists of an organic molecule which is adsorbed on the porous polymer and acts as the liquid membrane electrode. These electrodes are illustrated with the help of figures. We can see here the solid state membrane electrode where the silver sulfide, silver chloride pellet is kept here. The internal reference electrode is made up of silver chloride reference electrode, internal reference electrode, and there is an internal electrolyte. The body of the electrode is made up of Teflon because Teflon is inert and can resist high temperatures and pressures. The liquid membrane electrode, here the liquid is adsorbed on the porous material. The body of course is made up of Teflon. The internal reference electrode is silver chloride and there is an internal electrolyte. So the important three components we can see in the glass electrode also. Here the glass tube is there whose lower end is modified in the form of a bulb which is made up of soda glass. Only this part is made up of soda glass, not the entire one. The internal reference electrode is made up of silver chloride, and the internal electrolyte which is filled in the glass bulb also is 0.1 molar or 0.1 normal hydrochloric acid. So all the three important constituents or the components are present in the ion selective electrodes, whether it is solid state, liquid membrane or glass membrane. The applications of ion selective electrodes are many. They can be used for the determination of concentration of various cations as well as anions, such as hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, copper, magnesium, etc. and anions such as chloride, fluoride, etc. We can determine the pH of any given solution using the glass electrode. The concentration of gases can be determined using the gas sensing electrode, which is very important because earlier there were no gas sensing electrodes, and when people were going into the mines, they were caught in fire hazards. But now with the help of gas sensing electrodes, even the traces of gases are detected and the mines are evacuated in a given time and the people's lives are protected. So this is how the ion selective electrodes are there. In my next video, we will learn in detail about the glass electrode. Thank you.